How doing? Name the movie.
Something the Smiths.
Yep, Growing Up Smith.
Yes.
If you've not seen it, hilarious indie comedy about an East Indian family. That's your fun fact of the day. Welcome to the Real Marriage Podcast. I'm Mark, you're
Grace.
and
That one I do know the answer to.
you crushed it, nailed it. So thank you to everybody on the interwebs who posted questions about marriage. We're going to do, it's probably a two-part series. What we found was in-laws / outlaws is kind of the theme of the time. And so like, here are some of the questions. How do you have healthy boundaries with in-laws? What do you do with overbearing, intrusive in-laws? Yeah. So a lot of the questions, many, in-laws, not acting right, putting pressure, strain on the marriage. So that's what we're going to talk about, okay?
And one of your most liked posts is when you say that you are your own family when you get married. You're not joining someone else's family.
Yeah. We got to pull your mic in there, cutie. Okay. So yes. So we are now the in-laws.
Yes, we are.
We're the olders in the
To two.
So we've got, well, you can explain our family dynamics.
We have 5 children, 19 to 27, and every 2 years. And 3 of them, the older 3 are all married. Our daughter is the oldest, so she doesn't have us for in-laws, obviously, but we are in-laws to
her husband. Yeah.
And then
Who runs Real Faith. So
Yeah.
this podcast is being put out thanks to the leadership of our son-in-law and daughter.
yes. And then
And they've got a little boy.
our other 2 sons are both married, and we are in-laws. So I guess we're in-laws to 3, sorry. In-laws to those daughter-in-laws. And they both have children as well. The middle son has 2 sweet boys, and the youngest son has 1 sweet little girl.
And yeah, we're blessed because we've got wonderful kids that love the Lord. And
Yes.
our daughter-in-laws are awesome. They're godly, sweet. They're great wives, moms. They're dear. They're great. And then we love our son-in-law, and he's awesome to our daughter. She's super happy, blessed. So we're really blessed. So we're not the younger people dealing with the in-laws. We're the older people who are the in-laws. And so we've done a lot of teaching, like in the Leave and Cleave sermon series on in-laws and extended family. If you're not familiar with that, go to Real Faith and find the Leave and Cleave sermon series. And there's a full workbook to do with your spouse and
Yes.
homework and all of that.
Very helpful.
But I want to look at it now, not from the perspective of the young couple trying to figure out a healthy relationship with extended family, but let's speak to their parents or their spouse's parents, their in-laws, and let's share some very practical things as the older couple that could be helpful for the younger couple. And if you get this forwarded to you by one of your kids or their spouses, and you're the older folks, don't be offended. We love you. We're here to help. But you did allude to the first one. So I wrote down 10 things.
Wow.
10 things. Super. It's not laws or commandments.
That
Just
will definitely
10
be
things.
more than one episode.
Okay. So you alluded to the first one. So go back to that. Point number
Yes.
1 would be,
That when you get married, you are not joining their family or remaining in your family. You are creating a new family with your spouse.
so you leave and cleave. To quote the old King James in Genesis 2, God's divine design for marriage, a man will leave his mother and father and cleave to his wife. That means to passionately prioritize and pursue his wife. And so your loyalties change, your priorities change. Before you get married, it's God and maybe then your family. Well, then it's God and your spouse and your kids. So it changes.
Yes.
And so I said this at the officiating of all 3 of our kids' weddings. I told our daughter-in-laws and our son-in-law, you're not joining our family. Our kids are not joining your family. You guys are
Becoming
a new family. And so immediately there, if all the generations involved don't agree on that, what happens?
division and backbiting and
Hurt
hurt
feelings.
feelings and yeah.
And so like I had lunch with two of our sons this week. One's out of town. I get lunch with them about once a month, and just checking in anything I can coach or pray for or help with or do or give. Anything you want dad's advice on? Because I'm in the position of, if they welcome me, I have a voice. Mm-hmm. And if not, I don't. But I don't have a vote. Like, they and their wives decide like what you guys are doing with your life.
Yes.
I want to earn the right to be part of Wise Counsel.
We've done all our training. Now it's time, when we're invited in, to just offer Wise Counsel if that's what they're asking for.
So when a couple gets married, if you're the older couple, like, you know what? That's your family. You guys got to get your own traditions. Mm-hmm. You guys need to make your own decisions, pick your own church, how you want to educate your kid, what you want to do with the holidays, what you want to do with your vacations. So we'll talk more about the practical implications of that. But that's the big overarching architecting issue, is like, they're a separate family. Like, I have no jurisdiction there.
Right.
It's like, if I'm a cop in Canada and I come to America, I'm not a cop in America. I don't come with any jurisdiction or authority. Like, we have authority in our family. That's a different family.
Yeah. Once they leave the family to create their own, then we have different impact.
Yeah. And number two, I don't know if you and I will actually agree on this one.
Oh,
so
boy.
This will be interesting.
Fun.
Never loan money to your married kids.
I think we agree on that. You just give it to them if they need something, but you don't make them pay it back.
So one of the ways that you bless your children is with finances and generosity. And
unless, I guess there's probably maybe some areas we disagree.
Like how
I mean,
could
if
you
they're
possibly
wanting,
disagree with,
because if it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars or something, I mean, not
well,
that
it depends on how much money a family has.
Yeah, I mean, not that we're sitting on that.
No.
Just that if that's something, in order to help them be responsible with their money, and not if there's a situation where, there's possibility of enabling them and they're just being irresponsible, obviously.
No, I'm not talking about funding bad stewardship.
Yes.
But let's say, because a lot of times people will try and control their married kids by giving money. And in so doing, now they want to sort of leverage their way into the marriage to have access and information and decision-making, strings attached. So it's like, if you're going to give money to your kids, and my attitude is this, it says in Proverbs, a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. My attitude is, kids don't need the money at the end of my life. They need it at the beginning of their marriage. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give my kids an inheritance. That's my aspirational goal, is to be generous for generations. But, when I, retire at, I don't know if I'll ever retire, to be honest with you. I'm not going to retire. But like, let's say we pass away at 85 and then our kids are in their 60s.
Okay.
They don't need it unless they've done a really bad job with their entire financial life.
Right.
When they do need it is when they're in their 20s. Most of so far, the three married kids all got married in their early 20s. Mm-hmm. Well, now you got to buy your first home. Now you're going to have your first kid. Those are really massive expenses. Mm-hmm. And if you can't afford it, it could really jack up the family, because it may even be, hey, we want mom to stay home with the kids, but we can't afford it.
Right.
And now you're sending mom off to work when she doesn't really want to, just to be able to, pay the bills. And so my thought is, get them some of their inheritance, or maybe as much as you can, as early as you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I even, here's a suggestion. You may have an amount of money and you're like, well, we're going to give it to the kids, when they get married. Well, tell them you can have it for the wedding or a down payment on a house. Mm-hmm. Pastor Mark here. Thanks for joining me for the sermon. We've got a Real Romance bundle for you. It includes the book, Real Romance, Sex and the Song of Songs, written with my best friend and wife, Grace. We go through this amazing book of the Bible, and we'll get a copy of that to you. We have also got for you 6 talks from a Real Romance conference that we did. This includes the most popular talk I've ever given in the history of the world on forbidden sex acts. And so you want to get that. We've also included in this bundle 10 vintage marriage talks, plus a practical guide. I'm happy to report that I've been faithful to my girl since our first date on March 12th, 1988. We have been doing marriage teaching and training for 3 decades now. So we're going to pull some stuff out of the vault as well. Also got a bonus talk from my best friend, Pastor Josh McPherson, on how to have a fruitful marriage. So that's a total of 17 marriage talks plus the Real Romance book. You can get it all, realfaith.com/marriage, realfaith.com/marriage. Thank you for partnering with our ministry. Your gift helps us to get more Bible teaching out than ever. So thanks in advance.
Yep.
And if they're smart, they'll say, well, we're going to do a simple wedding and we're going to go buy a house and start to build generational wealth and equity through real estate.
Yep.
So when you give money to your kids, though, don't set it up like some sort of bank. Hey, I need you to pay me this back by then, and here's your interest rates, and here's all the strings attached. Do grace-based giving with your kids. Don't act like a bank, act like a parent.
Yes.
Okay? Number 3, if you invite them to something, pay for it. If you invite them to dinner, you're the parent, pay for dinner.
Yeah.
If you're inviting them on a vacation, pay for their travel and their vacation.
Be a blessing. And again, can't come back and say, well, you can't do that because I paid for our vacation.
Yeah, you can't
use it.
You can't pay for something and then strings attached, manipulation and control.
Nope. Free gift.
Free gift. We're doing grace. We're blessing you. Grace is one way, by the way.
Yes.
And that is we're giving, not taking. We're giving, not receiving. We're giving, not expecting.
Yes.
And so this would include sporting events. So every once in a while, I'll tell the kids like, hey, who wants to go to a game? Like some years ago, it was, I think it was a Diamondbacks playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to go? They're like, we all want to go. Okay, then I'm paying for everybody.
Yeah.
And there's been some times that we've done some family trips after the kids were married. So we would do some family trips when the kids were, unmarried.
The youngers would graduate. We would take the whole family on a graduation trip if they wanted to go. Again, if they wanted to go. We weren't demanding that they all attend.
But then, we had a graduation, and the 2 kids who were graduating said, hey, one was high school, one was college. Hey, I'm going to go to Iceland.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't even know where that is. So we got to go get a map and figure that out. They're like, and I want to drive the Royal Road or whatever, Royal Ring or whatever they call it, around the whole country. And I want to go see waterfalls and volcanoes and sheep and
hot springs.
And I'm like, okay, well, we have some kids are married.
That was a twofer trip because we got 2 graduations in.
Yeah. But then it was, hey, well, somebody in the family's married. Do you guys want to come?
Mm-hmm.
No expectation, no demand, no pressure, no guilt. Do you want to go to Iceland? And then the question is, well, how much? I'm paying for everything. This was a big shocker. They wanted to go to Iceland for free.
They did.
But because they were married, I rented them their own car.
Yes. We had 2 cars and everybody shared between the 2 cars, and the 2 single kids hopped back and forth and traded,
But I wanted the married couple to be like, you're not in my car under my jurisdiction driving around a country for a week.
Yeah. They got their own room.
Have your own. Yeah, no. We're not doing any of that. And so it's like, no, if you guys want to go somewhere else, see something else, you want to go have a date, you want to go have an adventure, like you're married, go do what you want to do. And we can't take up any offense if it's like, oh, we didn't get our lunch. It's like, no. It's one way. We love you. Go do what you need to do.
We make a plan, and if they want to participate in those allotted times, they can. If not, they don't have to. And we're okay with that because we're still getting a trip as well, which means we also have to be proactively planning for those moments because you can't always know, like when a World Series playoff game is going to come. You can't know when certain trips or opportunities might come. So we need to still continue to be responsible and prayerful about how the Lord would ask us to be ready to bless our kids that are creating their families.
Well, and in that, sometimes the couple doesn't want to go or can't go, and you don't need to know why.
Mm-mm.
Maybe they're struggling with fertility, or there's a health issue, or maybe they're dealing with something at work or with one of the kids. Like, just assume the best, don't assume the worst, and don't make it about you. And if you're the older parent, it's not about you. It's about them and their marriage and their kid and their family.
And if you have a sense that something's off, you can ask and say, I'm not asking details. I'm just wanting to make sure we're good. And if they say we're good, then move on.
How about this one? Number 4, I wrote down, share whatever you can. If you got an extra car and their car breaks down, drive my car. You got a truck and they need to go haul stuff. Here's the truck. You got a cabin. Here's keys to the cabin. You're always welcome. And I put down credit score. I'll explain that in a moment. There's a hack there. But if you have something and it would bless them, share it with them.
And our kids are grateful. So we don't have, our kids don't walk around entitled, expecting things. And so we're able to be a blessing to them even more because we know that when we do these things, they see it with a grateful heart and they're not expecting every time for us to do this, but they do know that we're generous because we believe and have seen and experienced that God is continuously generous with us. And so in that, we want to be generous too, not just our kids. Beyond our kids, we're generous, but we are generous with our children.
And you're right. We have hardworking kids that are good stewards. They are not entitled. They don't demand anything. They don't take anything. They're grateful, and we love them. And we're really proud of them. They're getting married young. They're taking on a lot of responsibility young. They're getting married. They're leading in ministry. They're buying homes. They're starting families. They're having children in the early 20s. So it's like, well, how can we help? Yeah. So if their car breaks down, got an extra car, take our car. And it's not, again, no strings attached. Nope. No control. No, you owe me. No, none of that. And like when we give the keys over, it's like, drive it as long as you need it. And, and if you can't be gracious and you can't do giving, maybe you can't afford it or you don't have an extra vehicle or anything like that, that's okay. You can only give what you have. But if you give it begrudgingly or you give it with some sort of control mechanism, strings attached, then the kids need to say no. Yeah, they're like, we're not doing that. And the other hack too is your credit score. So here's a little hack. So when your kids, go to get married, they probably don't have any credit, but it's the first time in their life that they can really get a potential good deal on a home. Yeah, first time. Because as a first-time home buyer, you get some different products, lower down payment, lower interest rates. If they can buy a house, they can now start to generate equity and generational wealth. So my thing is, you pay your mortgage or somebody else's mortgage. If you're renting, you may as well pay for your mortgage.
Yeah, if you can do it.
You can do it. So if there's any way we can help get you into a house, and part of that you can help give toward the down payment, but also too is credit. So like when our kids got married, they didn't really understand they never bought a house. So it was a new process. And they're like, well, Dad, how do you get your credit score? Easy. Let Dad add you as a quote authorized user on some of my credit card accounts, get a card with your name on it. And then when they pull your credit rating, it'll include my credit score. So and I did this, don't say anything, but like I did this for one of the daughter-in-laws too. She's like, I don't have any credit. I was like, you will, sweetheart. Your father-in-law is got a hack for this. And so then they get the benefit of a credit score.
And again, they're responsible.
They're very good.
Paying their bills. They're not, just racking up our credit card. It has their name on it and they, pay that portion.
Well, no, they don't even, so they don't make payments on the credit card. They just have their name on it. But I do let them keep it. And
if they make a large purchase or something on it.
I tell them, no, we don't need to argue on the Real Marriage Podcast. We don't need to do that. Let me explain how this works, because obviously I have not done this. What I tell them is, don't put any of your personal expenses on my card. This is my card with your name on it to borrow my credit score. And if it's something that I'm paying for, use my card. So it may be like, hey, it's your guys' anniversary. Go out to dinner, have a nice dinner, put it on my card and I'll pay the balance.
Well, we did have a couple times early on where the kids did make a purchase and then they paid us for it because that was
okay. I will just testify and we'll move on. I paid for it. I don't take money from my children. It is a one-way relationship. So anything that showed up on a credit card and my name was on the account, I paid for it. Praise God. I love it. My kids are awesome. Here's number 5, and then we'll do another episode after this. They can come to your house. You can't go to their house unless they invite you.
Without being invited, correct.
Okay, so explain that.
So they're always welcome here. They can come in a moment's notice. Our kids are respectful, so they don't generally just pop by without at least texting and saying, hey, can I grab this? Or can I, drop the kids off or whatever the thing is that they want. But they're welcome to come by. They can come by when we're gone and utilize the house, or, if their washer and dryer are out or whatever the situation, they're welcome to come by and just utilize the house in whatever way they need. But we don't just drop by at their home.
Nope.
We ask if there's something we need to do in regards to them, or we wait for them to invite us over. And that's just how it is. And they like spending time with us. So
no, we love our kids. I believe we've got a great relationship with all of them. But yeah, it's like, again, it's your family and it's your house. Mm-hmm. And so if you want our family to come visit your family at your house, you need to invite us. Mm-hmm. So yeah, all the kids have got, we're at home now. This is my home library. All the kids have got access. They can come and go as they please. Mm-hmm. No problem. You need a truck. They know where the keys are to the vehicles. Hey, Dad, grabbing your truck. Great. Praise God. Whatever. And sometimes when we're not here, they'll be like, show up with the grandkids and they're in the pool because it's hot. And they'll do swimming with great. Praise God. Right. And so for us, like, you're always welcome at our house, and we won't come to your house unless you've invited us. We would never just drop by, mm-hmm. never just knock on the door and insert ourselves, but they can do that to us. And they do.
Yes.
We see them all the time. But then we wanted to set up our home as well, where they feel welcome, where there's parking, there's toys for the kids, there's play stuff outside for the kids, where there's a pool fence around the pool for the safety of the grandbabies. Like, we want to create our home that everybody's welcome, everybody's safe. And this would be the spot that if they were going to intersect and connect, it'd probably be at Nana and Bop Bop's house.
Yep.
So we see our kids all the time, mm-hmm. but we don't make them hang out with us. By trying to be, and I'm not saying we're crushing it, but trying to be generous, trying to be considerate, trying to be flexible with our schedule, trying to be available, trying to honor their marriage, and without trying to leverage one to give access against the will of the other. We don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. What we find is a lot of older couples will say, man, I wish I had as much relationship and time with my kids who are grown and married as you all do. How do you make them do that? And the answer is, well, you don't make them.
No. And there was a learning curve for all of us in the beginning. I remember there were some hurt feelings initially, just because we were trying to figure out, what does this look like? I want to be helpful, but I don't want to be intrusive. We had to, talk about it a little bit in the beginning because we were new to it. They were new to it. And if we're overstepping and didn't realize, and our hearts weren't to overstep, we had to have that discussion and be like, okay, we'll back off, or, you guys know that we're not trying to ignore you. You would need to invite. So just having those conversations is super helpful, and allowing your kids to create those boundaries, and free flow with that. And then if they decide to not have those boundaries, have more boundaries, less boundaries, going with it and letting them figure out how to be married, have a healthy marriage, and when kids come in, how to have healthy family. And we had to learn when we were first married, and we didn't know what we were doing. Oh. And so giving them that space and that grace. And once we got through kind of that awkward first bit of it, then it's really simple, and they, like we've said, they want to get time with us because we're not pushing for anything. We don't have an agenda for them. We enjoy our marriage. We want them to enjoy their marriage and family. And that's really all that we want. And so they get to decide what that looks like.
Yeah, two things in closing, Sweetie Pie, and we'll pick up the next 5 points in the next episode. Different couples are going to do this differently.
Yes.
Like there's some friends of ours, and they're similar age, wonderful family. And their kids are newly married, and they want to hang out as couples a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So like, let's say you've got a kid and they marry somebody that comes from a broken home and their parents weren't intact. And now they marry into a family where mom and dad love each other, been married for a long time, like hanging out. They may be like, I want to hang out with your folks. I want to see a couple that's been married 30 years. And I want to, I've not really had parents, and I'd like to have some extended family. So, and others will be like, my family's very, very close. We just got married. We want our privacy.
Yeah.
We want to go on date night. We want to have Naked Tuesday where we don't wear clothes at our house. So please don't just show up unannounced. So different couples are going to do it differently. Number two, it'll change in different seasons.
Mm-hmm. Health, kids.
Yeah. They may say, hey, we really want, distance and boundaries, and we'll see you guys once in a while, but we're not going to be hanging out all the time. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, she's pregnant and throwing up all the time. Could you guys serve, come over, help, run an errand? If there's a hard pregnancy, could you come watch the other siblings? So just as a parent, just play the long game.
Yep. Works well.
Be generous, be gracious, be available, be flexible, be forgiving, be kind. And just
be honest, be able to have honest conversations with each other.
Okay. I've got 5 more in the next episode.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you to our kids and their spouses who are helping us learn this. And we talk about this a lot, and we don't have it perfect, but we're trying to do our best.
Yes.
Yeah.